first parent teacher conference. And usually, I don't know about any other race, I know my people, sometimes, only time we go to the school is when our child is doing bad. And I went to the school and I could count how many African American parents I saw. They could have came after or before, but the time that I was there, it was very few. So even if your child do good, you need to show up. Let that teacher know that we are concerned. So we're going to move into the educational piece and set a plan of action, how we're going to do the educational piece, and I'll let Liason Shawn take it over from here.
Well, thank the board for being here today. And as Elder Kaiser said, we've talked about things, but a lot of the things that were recommended were things that came out of the last meeting. So all we did was took a conglomeration of the information that was suggested when we were at the university and kind of put it together. So we kind of have recommendations here, but we're looking for input. We're looking for input. So, and I think that if Elder Kaiser doesn't mind, I think it's probably more appropriate to start just at the shooting and violence that we were talking about, and drugs. And if you look at that first page, and it talks about highlighted after the agenda is highlighted, then you see highlighted, it says immediate community concern. Okay, which is the shooting and violence and drugs. We said that was, I think we got out in the last meeting, I think most people would agree that is the major focus right now. I think someone even mentioned the other day that there was another shooting here in the city. And so that being the case, that we said as a committee we wanted to focus on that. So that being said, our first plan of attack, as Elder Kaiser has already said, is our goals and objectives. What are we going to do? What do we want to accomplish? If you'll turn to the second page. These were some of the suggestions, but they don't necessarily have to be all of them. Once again, you said from the notes that we had, this was just we just kind of put things together. And if you read right there for the goals and objectives concerning some of the violence that we have in the city and shooting, drugs, so on and so forth. The first one we have down is to stop or reduce the amount of shootings and violence attributed to our community. That would be one of the objectives that we had as a community committee. The second thing, or one of the three, would be to raise awareness about available community resources and how to tap into them. Once again, we're looking for, we're in that action stage now. We're no longer looking to talk, but we're looking to get some results. We're looking for solutions. And then last but not least, to gain more passionate allies in the fight for our community. And we do know that this is a fight, that some of the things that are happening right now, we have people coming in the community basically looking to take over. And as you can hear, the passion is in my voice because I'm telling people, I think about it every day. I have 4 children. 3 of them are young boys. And I know with my young boys, and one of the things that my grandfather told me when I was coming up, he said when you have your family, son, you've got 2 major objectives. Number 1 is to raise those boys to be good men. Number 2 is to keep them alive. And I know that as a black male that they're at a higher risk of, as Derek was saying, either finding themselves in prison or dead.
Oh yeah.
And so that being said, this is why we set these as some of the goals and objectives, once again, coming out of that first meeting. And if some of you have other things, we're going to talk about those things, but we're just going off of that for right now. Some of the suggestions for the plan of action would be to strengthen our partnerships with our police department and local officials. I know somebody mentioned about that. We talked about having a liaison, and there's also, but there's other things that we can do and to partner with the police department and our local officials, and we'll talk about that as a committee. As you're brainstorming, you're thinking of things, write them down. Write them down. The next thing is have a planned march ASAP. I see Derek over there shaking his head. Even a planned march, a march as in a march here in the community. Suggested, the sister suggested. And then if you go on, it tells you what we're looking at and why. It says well, we're still focusing on the violence and the shootings and the drugs in our community. So the march would be addressing that particular. That would be the reason we're coming together. That would be the reason why the march would be organized in the first place. And as you can see here, it says even in the middle of the winter, to bring more attention to the issues. Now, if you're asking why, this is why. To bring more attention to the issues and to symbolically say, this is our community and we won't stand for it. Not what's going on, because once again, we're talking about empowering our community. As someone said earlier, we're looking for people to do it on the outside, and reality is, it's not going to happen. You know, we've had many times people have asked, they said, well, why do you have a ministerial alliance? You know, why do we have a separate ministerial alliance? And we've had that question asked by, you know, the other community many times. And the answer we give them, just as kind and as nice, is that it's nothing against other people. It has to do with the fact that we have issues in our own community that the white community is not going to address. That's our job to do that. I mean, and so that's one of the major reasons why even the IMA is in existence, who brought this whole thing together in the first place. Going down to the next one, once again, these are just suggestions for plans of action. Monthly updates, briefing with the city officials about concerns on both sides, followed by a complete report by a representative. So more important, to keep people involved and informed. So in other words, we can come together like we're doing right now, you know, on a regular basis, after we've had time to sit down and address the issues, or talk to the city officials about different issues, and then be able to bring those issues or concerns, the things that we have addressed from that meeting back to the group as a whole, to share with people. So we may have only one liaison. We may only have one person, but that person is going to be able to bring back to us what the issues are, you know, what's going on in city council, what are their concerns as well as what our concerns is. You know, and one of the questions I asked myself as we were putting this together, I mean, do we only need, do we need a liaison just for the black community, or do they need a liaison also? I don't know. You know, I'm just kind of, once again, just going off of what was brought up. And then we have down below that, it says to gather information on new and upcoming, the new and upcoming tip line and other law programs. And once again, somebody was talking about, we're talking about partnering. You know, we're still addressing shootings, violence, and drugs in our community as a plan of action. These are some of the things that we can do in order to address some of those situations that are going on in our community. And then we have right below that, in bold, it says pastors and other community leaders would be responsible for helping change the mindset and culture that's so deeply entrenched in our community, which is don't tell and don't get involved. And you know, people, I respectfully agree with a lot of things that were said here earlier, but you know, in reality, you know, we do have young people in the community who some of them are afraid for their lives. They're afraid for their lives. I mean, I have young people that talk to me about, you know, being afraid they're in the high school because we've got some real thugs. Even in our, I know, you saying that about our children? Yeah, I'm saying about the thugs.
That's true.
About the thugs. And once again, I use that term because once again, it bothers me that I gave that testimony many times. That's the reason I moved here to Marion. And I'm just righteously angry about it because I moved here from Columbus to Marion because I told my wife, I said, I mean, I could have taught in Columbus, Ohio, but I told my wife, I said, I want to move to your city because it's safer there. And here we are now. We're in the same situation as Columbus on a little scale, but we know eventually it's going to get larger if we sit back and keep quiet as a community. It's going to get larger. And so that's a, you know.
But you know, before the youth became thugs, they were their
All right.
children's age.
Amen.